Hi, welcome to another episode of What's the TVV. I'm obviously not Sue Jones, but I am your host, Alana Falcon. And today we're going to talk about the Public Information Office, what it does, and how we communicate to residents. And with me today, we have Public Information Officer Sue Jones. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. But I have to say, I don't know about being on this side. Being in this seat's a little funny because I'm usually in your seat.
Yeah, I'm trying to take over. Sue, what's your favorite part about working for local government?
Well, I think when you work for local government, you're serving your community, and I get a lot of satisfaction about helping my community make it better. I feel like when I come into work, I'm not only, earning a paycheck, I'm actually investing in my community and making it better. And being in PIO, the really neat thing about it is every day is a new day. It's not like Groundhog Day.
That being your favorite, what would you say would be your least?
There's also an aspect of working for a city. The city never closes. If you work for a shop, you get to lock the door and go home at night. There's no customers, overnight kind of thing. But when you work for a city, the city's always on. There's always issues, things going on where people need help, or perhaps a traffic signal goes out or something like that. And for me in PIO, I would say communication never stops. So social media never turns off. So I find myself at night or on the weekends checking it because I can't help myself. But I know for my own sanity and for my family, I need to turn that off. So I've been trying to set limits where I'll, put a few hours and don't look at it kind of thing.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like it's so hard to want to shut off when you are so passionate about what you do. What is the Public Information Office, and how did you become the Public Information Officer?
The Public Information Office reports directly to the city manager. The easiest way to describe it is it's the communication arm of the city. We're responsible for all the communication. That can be external, it can be internal. We manage the website content, social media. A big part of our job is media relations, so our communication with the media. And as a part of my responsibility, I also serve as the city spokesperson. So when they want comment or something from the city, that's me. But the office is comprised of 3 people, myself and 2 staff members. You are so important to us, and we also have another staff member who is also responsible for a lot of the content creation. My path to being a PIO is very diverse. I've been working for over 30 years. It's hard to admit that it's been that long, but I've worked in a variety of sectors. I've worked in nonprofit. This is the second time I've worked in government. I've also worked as a consultant in a small PR firm in Atlanta. I'd say that's where I really cut my teeth on the industry. I had an amazing boss who taught me a lot. We served a lot of corporate companies, like Fortune 500 companies, and we were responsible for all their communication, media relations. So my path here, I would say, is very diverse. I've developed a lot of skills. I have a master's degree in communication, which I call on all that for every day in my job.
Just because I'm curious, I won't tell anybody, even though this is recorded, but what would be your favorite between private sector and government?
Definitely government. And the reason being is you do get that great feeling of serving your community. I've always gravitated more towards the jobs where I feel like, I'm helping someone or making something better. And so here I feel like I'm helping to make the community better.
That makes a lot of sense.
I've been really fortunate to have landed this job. I feel super, super lucky because I was married to an Army officer and we moved around a lot. So I became a jack of all trades. We moved basically every 2 years. So I had to reinvent myself every time. But all those experiences have made me what I am. But finally, my husband retired out of Fort Irwin. We happened to be here and this job opened up and here I am. So
Yeah.
Really lucky.
No, yeah, I think you do a great job. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sue, what would you say your primary function is, and how does that relate to our strategic goals?
To say it really simply, I would say it's to connect the community with their local government is our primary function. And how that relates to our strategic goals, surprise, surprise, there is an actual strategic goal that is building stronger community connections within our strategic plan. So that lines up perfectly with our job in PIO. And we have this great honor to serve all 16 departments in the city. So really we touch on all the strategic goals, whether that would be be, improved infrastructure, strong infrastructure, supporting public works when they have road improvement projects, or, building a more fiscally sustainable city. We talk about the budget a lot and communicate that with our community. So we really do get to touch on all the strategic goals. So it's this great honor that we have to share that information with the community so they can be aware, also to give them ways that they can learn more about the things that are of most importance to them. But I also say I get the great honor of bragging about what my colleagues do, because we work with a really talented group of people who are doing a lot of hard work to make Victorville even stronger.
Sue, I know you're coming up on a decade of being with the city and you've probably seen so many different projects. What would you say your favorite project has been?
My favorite project I've worked on is the Veterans Day celebration. That has become a passion project for me. I think, every time you have a job, you typically find that passion project, the one that motivates you, makes you the most excited. I would say, I've already mentioned my husband's a veteran, my dad's a veteran, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law. I think I just am connected to that. I have a patriotic streak, I guess, in me, but I really get a lot of satisfaction from giving recognition to our local veterans. The thing that sets our Veterans Day ceremony apart from others that you may have seen is that it's very personalized to our local veterans. We invite the community to tell us about veterans they know and love so that we can tell their stories. We can feature them with pictures and video in our ceremony. It's quite an honor to give the local veterans the recognition and thank them for their service. I really love the aspect, too, of now coming up on just about 10 years of getting to see them year after year. I get to see the same veterans and their families, and it really is like a homecoming each year.
So I know within the few years that I've been here, the communication has changed drastically on how we try to really connect with residents. Are there any new ways that we're trying to communicate with residents?
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, because communication is ever evolving, and it's really important for us to keep embracing technology and changing what we do to try to connect with our community where they're at. This podcast is a perfect example of something new that we've launched to try to really explore issues in more depth. It's very hard to answer questions on social media that give a very in-depth answer. Sometimes, we're exploring topics that really take a lot of backstory and setting things up and letting people know legalities and background and things that have led us to this point, when we answer questions. So that's just not doable in social media or even in a press release. It's very hard to do it. We put this podcast together so that we could sit here and go more in depth with people in our city that are really expert on a variety of topics, and we try to explore those topics that are of most interest to our community. Another new technology we just released is our city app. It's called Victorville Now. It's available for download for free in the App Store, and this is a new technology that we're giving to community members that they can use right on their mobile device. It's quick, it's convenient to let us know about issues or concerns that they have. The City of Victorville is 74 square miles in size. It's very hard for us to see everything that's happening, and oftentimes community members are going to see something in their neighborhood quicker than we might, and so we want them to go ahead, take that picture on their phone, send it to us quickly, and let us know so that we can get out and fix it for them quickly. And I'll just mention one other new thing that we've done is our Victorville 101 bus tour. That's giving community members a chance to come in, go behind the scenes, see the different operations of the city, like our airport, our animal care and adoption center, see the library under construction. And this is a quick 4-hour tour that really goes into the new initiatives, our strategic goals, so that community members can really get to know us even more and see how the city functions and learn more about their local government.
It's good to know that with Victorville Now and the Victorville 101 bus tour, we're really meeting the community where they're at. Whether you're really into technology and you want to focus on that being your main source of communication, or if you're more of someone who wants to be in person and really mingle with people, we have the bus tours to really bring the community together and meet them where they're at. Sue, I know you mentioned that it's easy to get caught up on the social media comments, and I know one that really always catches my eye is asking how much we spend on the podcast. With that being said, is it outsourced with vendors, or do we do this internally?
We're really, really fortunate that we have a very talented member of our team who went to film school and is very versed in video technology. So this podcast doesn't cost us anything, aside from just the equipment that we purchased to put the studio together, which was minimal. Now we can produce the podcast basically for free, and many other videos that we produce that we put on social media to communicate with our community. Those are free. The only thing I could think of that we might source out to a vendor from time to time is if we have a very complex printing project where maybe we made like a set design, which is very rare, or if we put in like a cardstock flyer or something together, we'll hire a printer for that. But those are all minimal expenses as well.
Sue, I know we touched on a few different ways that we communicate with residents. Are there plans on expanding the way we communicate in the future?
I'm really excited to share with the community that we're going to redo our website. So here in the next couple months, we'll launch a redesign project. It'll take us a good probably 9 months or so to finish the redesign, but the website will not only look better and function better, I believe that we'll do a better job of organizing the information so that folks can find what they're looking for quicker. And I'm sure that'll include some assessment with the community, and it'll have a more modern look and feel. And I really hope that it'll be an upgrade for our community and they'll enjoy that. Another thing with all this video capability we have, we're going to be expanding our use of video, very specifically to streaming video. A lot of people use their digital smart TVs to get information or to watch programs. Well, we'll be meeting them where they're at with this technology and streaming information to them. We did that some with our illegal fireworks campaign, and it seemed to work really well. So I could see us doing that a lot more in the future as well. And one more use of video that is probably at least a year out is to use video display technology at our various city properties like City Hall, the new library, Hook Community Center, so that when patrons, members of the community are in those places, they'll see some of our video announcements while they're there. And so it's another way to capture their attention and meet them where they're at.
Well, Sue, thanks so much for sitting on the opposite side this time around. It's great to really get to know you a little bit more.
Thank you very much, Elena. I really appreciate the opportunity to share information about the Public Information Office. We're one of those support organizations. Very rarely do we want to capture the limelight. We actually want to put other people in the limelight. So it's a little uncomfortable. But I really do appreciate the opportunity to talk more about what we do and how important it is that we connect with our community and all the technologies we're using. So thank you. In the second half of our show, we're going to hear from our communication assistant, Elena Falcon. We're going to flip the script. I'm going to swap chairs with her, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about how the Public Information Office works. Welcome, Elena. Thank you so much for agreeing to do an interview on our podcast.
No, 100% happy to be here. No one forced me to be here.
Why don't we begin by having you tell us a little bit about your job with the city?
I've been in the Public Information Office about 3 years. I started as an office assistant, and I am now the communication assistant with the PIO office. I work with the social media, I work on the website, I help with a little bit of the press releases, not really drafting them, but kind of setting them up for the distribution, and then just collaborate with the departments as needed. So it's really hands-on.
Well, why don't you tell us what your favorite part about working for municipal government is?
My favorite thing about working for local government, I think, is the collaboration, especially within our department. We're able to collaborate with basically all 16 departments. So it's fun to be able to see what everyone does on a day-to-day basis. So I think that's been really enjoyable.
Well, how about thinking about what might be your greatest challenge, or what is your least favorite part about working for municipal government?
I think my least favorite part is not being able to respond to everybody. Sometimes we have a lot of concerns or questions on social media, and it's hard to really respond back to them in the lengthy way that sometimes is needed to give the explanation. So even when we have the information to provide to the community, it's not always easy to respond. And even when we do respond on social media, sometimes it gets hidden in the fact that someone else is asking the same question, but they're not going back to really see if we've already responded or answered that. And I think that gets hard because it's time consuming to sit there and really try to respond to everybody, especially if the answer is already in the comments. So that can really be hard sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why we use like special events and things where we can get in person with people or the podcast to try to get over that hurdle. What's your favorite project you worked on for the city?
I think my favorite project so far would be the Victorville 101 bus tour campaign. Those short videos that we use jump cuts to take viral videos and jump to our content to really promote the bus tour was so fun and also so fresh and new. I think it wasn't something that we've used to communicate before. And as embarrassing as it was, I was the face of the campaign. So there was so many times where I've gotten recognized out in public. It really helped me get out of my comfort of not wanting to be on the camera to just saying yeah and helping out when needed.
Well, you were such a great sport, Elena. I mean, there was a scene where you jumped in boxes. There was a scene where I even got to throw water on you, and you took it like a champ. And your willingness to put yourself out there really helped, I think, make the campaign as effective as it was.
Well, thanks. It was fun. I would do it again.
How do you prioritize what is communicated through the various communication platforms?
We really prioritize the way we communicate based off our strategic goals. And in particular with social media, we have a really big calendar. So we really try to plan out as far in advance as we can. And given some things get pushed, to a greater priority like public safety, depending on the circumstances, like for example, the heat wave. Yeah, we really love to communicate about recreation and the library programs and the deadlines that are approaching, but with the heat being so aggressive as it has been, our priority that week was to communicate that we have a cooling center for residents to be able to use. On top of communicating what we think the public needs to hear, we're really trying to prioritize and communicate what they want to hear.
Right, and we gather a lot of that through their comments, right? We hear what they are, concerned about, and maybe phone calls we received and emails too, so we can make sure we're matching what their priorities are.
Yeah, no, you definitely understand.
What cool events and programming's coming up?
There's so many to touch on. In October we have the Fall Festival, which is a really large street style fair that the city puts on, and it gains a lot of attraction each year. We have our Hullabaloo drive-through event, which is when all city departments get out and we make it an internal competition to really see who can have the best decorations or the best costume. And as much fun as it is for us, I know it's just as much fun for the public to see, especially the kids. They love it. So those two we have coming up. Then we have our Veterans Day. We also have our tree lighting, which is in December. And then I know right now we're getting into fall sports. So there's a lot coming on.
For people that say there's not much going on in Victorville, there really is, these great community events that they can come out to. They're put on for free. And that's a great amenity, offered to our community.
Yeah, and it's great because the community is able to really interact with us at most of these events. So most of our departments are out there, so it's another great way for us to meet them where they're at. But to keep up with all the latest events or, recreation activities or library programming we have, follow us on social media, subscribe to our newsletter. Those are all great ways to really stay in touch with what the city is putting on for residents.
We've been producing a lot more comedic content. Why is that?
I think it's another way to meet the audience that we might be missing if we're more serious. And I say that because there's a lot of times that PSAs or some messages that are so straightforward, some people are just going to skip through that because it's routine. It's something that they've already seen before. But when you add humor into it, they're not expecting it. So I think it really catches their attention and they're like, what is going on? Like, what are they really doing now? So I think it's a really good way for us to try to reach the audience that might just be missing over important information. And I think it's a point of pride to me to read the comments that are really questioning what is going on with their marketing team. Because we've done our job to really get their attention on these unhinged videos.
Yeah, it's like a shock factor.
Yes, 100%.
I know we've talked about some of the ways people from the community can connect with us, but what are a few more?
So we're on most major platforms for social media, such as Facebook, Instagram. I think those are the two major ones, but we communicate on X, LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. We're on all major streaming platforms for podcasts. And now we have Victorville Now. So there's so many different ways to really connect with us.
Outside of digital communication, what other ways do we communicate with our community?
So with our press releases and even sometimes our announcements, we're able to engage with a more traditional media, which is like the news outlets that sometimes do pick up our stories and really help communicate our message to residents that might have missed our releases. So our marketing really consists of a lot of visual designs, and with that we'll do print, such as like flyers, postcards, the bus shelter ads, or even the digital auto park sign that we'll throw some things up there. But if that kind of material is not for you, we also have our in-person council meetings. So if you really want to listen and come in and really digest the information, our council meetings are the first and third Tuesdays of every month. So another great way to stay informed. And if you're still looking for a way to really get answers to your question, we welcome you guys to come into City Hall and, just find the department you're looking for, and they're always happy to help really answer your questions.
Elena, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast and share your insight and all your experience from being in the PIO office.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I've always got to witness everyone else do this, so to be in this chair is really exciting. So thanks for having me.
Good news for you. You did pass your probation.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. What's the TVV is produced by the City of Victorville. If you have a topic you would like to see on future episodes, leave a comment or review on your preferred platform.